All right, let's move on to mezzo-soprano Olivia Gronenthal. Olivia, are you with us?
Hi.
I hear her. Hello, Olivia. How are you?
I'm good. How are you all?
Good. Thank you so much. Let us know what your tech is going on over there. What do you have?
My tech is malfunctioning apparently.
Oh, that's okay. We've had problems all day today. It's all good.
So I'm on my MacBook Pro.
Okay.
Recording, and then I have for the accompaniment my iPad. But
Okay.
no external mics. But I do have a light as well.
Okay. Great. Wonderful. Let us know what you'd like to start with, and we will get going.
I would like to start with Must the Winter Come So Soon.
Great. Thank you.
Must the winter come so soon? Night after night, I shiver and dear, wonder weeping in the woods. And from his house a brittle bark roots in the frozen earth. Must the winter come so soon? It is a long winter here. Must the winter come so soon?
Great. Thank you, Olivia. Can you tell us what the rest of the repertoire list is?
Yes, I have Voi che sapete, Things Change Joe, Ombra Mai Fu, and Vedrai Carino.
Okay. Let us go over to Chris.
I'd like to hear Cherubino, please.
Great!
I love it.
I love Cherubino.
That's awesome.
Voi che sapete che cosa è amor,
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Olivia. Okay, let's go straight over to Chris.
Great. Thank you, Olivia. That was really, really wonderful. Thank you. What I'm going to say applies to actually both pieces. Really, really be careful that you don't clip the ends of your phrases.
I know. That's a bad habit of mine. Very bad habit of mine.
Yeah. Really, really watch that you're singing through the ends of the lines,
Okay.
that everything is caressed and tapered beautifully and elegant. The other thing that really stuck out, especially in Must the Winter, is watch some of the final consonants, because you're singing in your mother tongue. I'm assuming English is your native language. and it's hard. Singing in English is very, very difficult, but just really, really watch that little detail.
Okay.
And in both of the arias, I want to see more. I want to see more character. I want to see more. I want to see that you're in the moment a little bit more here. I want to see your eyes speak a little bit more. I'm a huge proponent for using your cameras on your phones and your tablets, whatever you have. I want my singers to see what I'm seeing and hearing what I'm hearing. Live with it and really, really see how your body is reacting to what you're saying, and see if you are convinced yourself, and just be real with yourself. If chances are, if you're not seeing it, we're not seeing it either. So just be really aware of how you're using your communication. But other than that, I thought it was really great. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. Let's go over to Lisa.
Thank you. Lovely job, Olivia, and I loved your. It looks beautiful. The setup. I love the flowers in the room. It's just a lovely touch. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can see you. There you are. I felt that you were nervous, which is totally understandable in this strange circumstance.
Right everyone oh no.
Yeah, but I think what Chris was. I'm going to tack on to what Chris was saying. I think nerves are part of doing this, and it's something we all feel. But if you can go in a little bit through the character, I think that will help you vocally and emotionally much more so than you think. I feel like you were working very hard to sing to us. And I think if you, for instance, let's work backwards. Let's start with the Cherubino. He is being made to sing a song that he is very nervous about. So in a way, it's like it's an effort for him to sing. But as he gets going, and he's looking at the Countess and Susanna, and of course what he feels about the Count, that gives him courage, it gives him encouragement. And I think you can feel that. I also like to feel in that aria, where does he go off script? Where does he forget the song? And then when does he come back? So I think you can use the character's situation and the journey of the character in the aria to have a lot more fun in the aria. And then I think the words will have a lot more meaning to you. I know you know what you're saying, but sort of to Chris's point, we need to see and feel that those words have a little more meaning to you as Cherubino, yeah? And also, Must the Winter is tricky because it's slow and it's somber. So I think one of the things that you have to internally feel motion in your phrases. Feel the energy of her question, must the winter come so soon, as opposed to always make it a foregone conclusion and a statement, because I think it gets a little stuck for you. It gets a little heavy for you. And the voice doesn't always want to vibrate everywhere that you would like it to. But I think if you can stay in that the phrase is moving, even though it's slow, and that the language is comfortable for you, that you're not sort of translating as you go, and be the character in the moment. Don't play the end of the opera. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Great, Lisa. Thank you so
So
much.
otherwise, terrific job. Good for you.
Great.
Brava.
Thank you.
Brava.
Thank you so much. Jesse, let's go to you.
Great job, Olivia. I agree with both Christopher and Lisa. And I think if you go that route, you'll find also that it will make you sing more legato. And even though those two characters are very different one from the other, the legato is the one thing that they have in common, right?
Right.
So Mozart wrote the accompaniment of your aria as if it's a guitar accompanying you, but the phrase that you're singing, your beautiful melody, is not, right? Is not disconnected. So that legato that I think it was missing from both arias, for different reasons, but I think that will make also the end of the phrases, maybe the clipping, a little less there if you were focusing on the legato throughout. Question, could you hear your accompaniment as you sang?
That was, I probably should have gotten a speaker, because that I realized as I was singing that I placed it closer to my laptop versus closer to myself. And I think if I could do it again, I would place it closer to myself so I could hear it a little better.
Yeah, I think that you know, during the Cherubino, more than during the Barber, it was you know, we could hear that you guys weren't together.
Yeah.
And I think maybe, like you said, putting it on a speaker that has maybe the stereo aspect to it will help you hear it better. I mean, it wasn't that we could hear the accompaniment, but I think it could be a little more, and it would also help you with that. But great job, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Jesse. And to our mezzo-soprano genius, over to Jennifer.
Hello, Olivia. Thank you so much for singing those two beautiful arias. I love your enthusiasm and I love the color of your voice. It's wonderful. I'm glad that Jesse asked what he asked, because I was a little concerned about whether or not you could really hear, because what I heard was, you know, of course things weren't quite together, but further to the point, I would love it if you could take some of your practice time and really focus on the rhythmic integrity of the structure, because when your accompaniment starts, each one of these pieces, both Mas de Winter and the Voi che sapete, they have a definite pulse, which is always coming through in the accompaniment. And because you're not with a live pianist, you gotta go. So if you can find ways to conduct yourself through both of these pieces, really internalize where all of these aspects of the rhythm fall, then I think you'll have a much clearer picture moving forward. And if you then, you know, if everything then just falls really right in line, I by no means want you to become a human metronome or be robotic. But the rhythm of all of our music, the purpose of the rhythm is that it's like the skeleton. It's the thing that's going to hold everything together. So really having a clear picture of how the beats fall and where things have to line up, I think will be very beneficial for you. Brava.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. Olivia, I just want to add, I think you have a fantastically fun personality. And I think that your voice is bright and fresh and vibrant like your fantastically fun personality. And I would like to know why we don't have something to show your personality. Like, why not start with something like Non so più cosa son, so that we get what a great, fantastic woman and person, and you know, because I want to work with you, like because you said, oh, I love Cherubino, like you're excited about the music, right? What about Orlovsky? What about something funny so that we can see right from the beginning, this girl is awesome, what a great personality, I want to work with her. Have you thought about that?
I did contemplate putting in Orlovsky instead of Mas de Winter, and I made the wrong choice, but that's okay.
No, it's not a wrong choice. This right here is for you to try out things and see what works. I don't know you, we've never met each other, but my first thing I wrote down was, where is Orlovsky? Because you would be great at it, because you do have this fabulous personality and you could bring that out on screen, in person, you know, doesn't matter. I get it right away from you. So I would just encourage you, maybe swap the Cherubino arias so we can have the one that's a little bit more like, so we get some of the fun part of Olivia to come out in the audition. I think that's going to make people remember you. I'm going to remember you because you were awesome. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Great. Fantastic, Olivia. Fantastic audition. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to soprano, Ciara Newman. Ciara, are you with us? Gosh, everybody's so young, more 23-year-olds today. I love this. So great. Here she is. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you guys?
Great, thank you. Please talk us through your tech. What do you got going on over there?
Sure. So I'm coming to you guys from my iPad today, and I have the Shure NV88 microphone and an adapter that comes into that. And I also have a ring light and like my Walmart lamp, keeping it really classy.
Yes.
And I have a track and a Bluetooth speaker as well coming from
Great. Great. Thank you so much. Please introduce your first piece and we'll get started.
Perfect. Yes, so hello everybody, my name is Ciara Newman. I would really love to start with Miesiczku na nebi chlubokiem today from Dvorak's Rusalka.
Great. Wow, thank you so much. Great. Ciara, please tell us what the rest of the repertoire list is.
Absolutely. I brought with me today Veena Akama-Makia from Puccini's La Boheme. I brought with me Amy the Pretty Knight from Carlisle Floyd's Susanna, Gigi from Bizet's Carmen, and also Non Miguel from Mozart's Don Juan.
Great. Lisa, let's go to you and let you pick the second piece.
Oh, that's tough. Yeah, let's do a part of the Michaela. Let's go from Je vais voir, da, 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 the middle section into the end. Is that okay? Is that a hard thing for you to find on the track? Can I just ask, is the accompaniment very, very loud for everybody, or is that just my system? Would it be possible? Would it be possible to turn it down just a little bit, Ciara? Is that going to mess you up?
No, ma'am.
Oh, I feel
Thank
so old,
you.
ma'am.
She's so professional. I love it.
Thank
you so much.
All right.
Brava. Thank you so much. Awesome singing. Woo! 23. I wish I sang like that when I was 23. Oh my gosh. Lisa, let's go to you.
Really terrific job. Here, I'm going to make sure I can see you. Yes, and for 23, I think you have just a lot of sophistication. You are easily expressive. Your voice is really yummy and beautiful and filling out, I think, in a really, really nice way. So terrific on all of that. Brava. I'm asking this question because unfortunately it is now part of our COVID reality. Had you had a chance to work with those accompaniments much prior to today?
Not as much
Ciara,
as I.
are you able to?
I'm sorry, not as much as
Yes,
I.
I mean that's my. Yeah, no, and that's, and I mean, and the reason I ask is because I felt like, and I think this is something we're all dealing with, is that it was off a lot of your pacing. It was throwing you off kind of some of your comfort zone in terms of, I felt that more so in the French than in the Rusalka, but I do think that you like the Rusalka a little slower with a little more stretch. I could sense that you were wanting to stretch some of those phrases, and I wanted you to stretch some of those phrases. So it's just worth, I think, for everybody's sake, discussing, just briefly that, you need to kind of try to go after an accompaniment that suits how you want to sing the aria, because it is ultimately about how you sing the aria. Work with whoever you work with, your coach, your pianist, maybe send them an a cappella version of you singing, or with specific stuff, so that, and then of course, practice with it as you can. We don't always have time to do that given the spaces we are all in, but just be sure that the accompaniment fits the version of the aria that you want to communicate. So that being said, I think the Rusalka is a terrific fit for you. I think when it goes a little slower with more stretch, you'll be even happier, even more expressive. I loved that you were expressive, but sometimes you were not always specific. Sometimes I got the whole story in your face and in the text, and sometimes you went into singing land a little bit. I lost the movie. So I always want to be in the movie, because you could take me, you were taking us there, and then you were not taking us there. So just really be sure that you're always, say what you mean and mean what you say all the way through, including in the intro. Allow those to be your transitions, your bridges as a performer. And the Micaela, I think, was also really, really lovely, and thank you for starting halfway through. That's not easy. Be careful that the French doesn't get heavy, that the final endings in the French don't get accented, dangereuse, those kinds of things. I think that can have a little more elegance, a little more tapering. We don't want those ever to stress. And I think, again, this might be coming back to the accompaniment issue, but make sure you have a plan for your high notes, for the high phrases, that you don't arrive there too soon. Because I sense sometimes you were there and you're like, oh God, this is still going, I have to keep going. And you don't want to be caught that way, because I think your voice is absolutely stunning, and I think you can roll it out the way you want to roll it out, but just be sure that you have planned the architecture of a lot of those bigger phrases in the Micaela, because it really is a terrific fit for your voice. So brava, thank you for singing.
Great, Ciara, brava. Jesse, let's go to you.
Great, Ciara. Ciara, thank you. Great audition. I would like the camera angle a tad lower, just so when you have your hands down and you're starting those moves with your hand, that it takes us with you, instead of us questioning, is that movement already started? Oh, now I see it. It's just a little bit. And the mic that you're using, I think, has been the best so far. It was very consistent, and I think, if you said which mic it was, so
it's the Shure MV88 Plus. That's the mic. And what's great about that mic is it comes with its own little software and app where you can turn off all of the limiting, all of the compression, and you can set it to get everything all the way around without it like missing anything. So we're getting her voice, we're getting the room space, we're getting the resonance, the acoustics. So the Shure MV88, it's up in the chat too. I think we were having a little chat about it because it was great. It sounded great.
And to take the Micaela a little further, I think you have to go back to the character and who she is and where she is right now and why she's there. And I think if you do that, because your voice sounds really good and it's consistent all the way through the range, that that little extra I was missing in Michaela, I think, comes from the words and the character and why she is there and why she's saying what she's saying. But great job, and I agree with everything that was said before. I know tracks are a very tricky issue, but if you only have that as an option, I think you do need to spend a little more time just figuring it out how your track is not getting in the way of your singing. But at the same time, I must say you dealt with those issues very nicely during the audition,
Yes,
even more in the Michaela, where we got to different places and you're like, I know where I am, and we're back. So kudos to you. Thank you.
Agree. Let's go to Jen.
Hello, Ciara. You have such a beautiful voice. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. And I loved your performance and how you shared it. And tagging on to what Jesse said, I thought that the way you, even despite the technical difficulties, and yes, I agree with Lisa, you know, I think a slower tempo in the Dvorak would have served you beautifully. It really would have let us hear, it's such a tricky thing. Too fast and we don't get to hear the voice, too slow and we don't, that finding that thing, and it's really worth the time to just play with it. And the thing about it is record yourself while you're playing with the tempi so that you can listen back and say, that's the tempo that really makes me sound the best, and that's how I want to represent myself. It's all well and good for us to sit there and go, oh, be slower, be faster, and all this stuff. But take your app and play with the different tempi and really see, not only does it feel great, but does it also sound the way you ultimately want it to sound. The other thing. Oh yes, again, the way that you dealt with the little tech hiccups, it's like anything. It's the way you handled it with grace and you really kept your cool. That goes such a long way though on the other side of the table. It really does. I mean, when stuff will always go wrong on stage and you kept your composure and you stayed with it. And the only thing that I would say is really delve into the differences of character, because you have Mi chiamano Mimi, you have the Rusalka, and you have the Jadi, which have sort of there's a similar vibe musically in some of this stuff. So work and record yourself and video yourself so that we see a difference in character, a difference in focuses, a difference in that imaginary world that you have around you, because that's the thing that's going to really, it's clear you have a beautiful voice, but to then have that specificity between two roles that, in these grand sea of soprano heroines, we don't want them to sort of blend into each other. So find ways for your own physicality, and it will affect everything about it, but to really commit to those situations and to portray those. And again, video yourself while you're practicing, critique yourself with what you're seeing and see what really comes across as representing how you want to be, because it's really wonderful. Bravo to you.
Great, Jen, awesome advice. That's wonderful for everybody that's watching. Record yourself while you're working with these accompaniments. It's fantastic advice, because you do want to hear, okay, how do I sound with this track? Do I need to bump it up, bump it down? And we all know with the accompanist, you can adjust the tempi in different sections, and then you can save it as like your version. So if that's the way you have to go, make sure that you do listen to yourself. That's great advice, Jen. Thank you. Chris, quickly to you.
Sure. I actually have very little to say. I mean, everybody's pretty much covered everything that I wrote down. But I am so I'm so encouraged. For 23 years old, you're doing so many things that are right, and the voice is beautiful. It's opulent up top. I think as you experiment with all of these things that we've thrown at you, you're really going to find some things that will serve you in good stead in the future. And you look great when you're singing. You really pulled me in. I agree with what Jesse said. Just bring the camera down a little bit. There's a lot of white between the top of the frame and the top of your head. But I think, you know, from a vocal standpoint, I think you're doing some remarkable work for being as young as you are. The repertoire, I think, is all appropriate. You know, and this is just my own personal taste. I hear a little bit more schwung or a little bit more swirl in the Michaela. I want to hear a little bit more movement, I guess, in the A section, and especially when it comes back. But I mean, that's nitpicking. That's me splitting hairs. I think taking into account everything that's already been discussed is we've thrown a lot at you, but it's really wonderful, and congratulations.
Yeah. Big congratulations. Beautiful audition, Ciara. Gorgeous voice, gorgeous. You look gorgeous. The dress is gorgeous. You sound gorgeous. I mean, really fantastic. Awesome job. Beautiful.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Beautiful. All right, let's move on to our bass today. Dylan, are you here? Dylan Hughes? Dylan? Dylan, say hello if you're there. There you are.
Okay.
Do we have him?
Hello.
Hello, Dylan. Hi, welcome.
How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you for being with us today. Can you tell us what your tech is over there?
Yes. So I have 3 Apple speakers. 2 are on the side of the microphone, and then I have one down here next to me. And then I'm using an 11 Pro Max as the phone camera, and a Shure MV88 as the external microphone.
Wonderful. I love this setup. The background looks great. Simple, but really elegant and classy. Great. Thank you. Let us know what your first piece is and we'll get started.
I will sing Now Heaven in Fullest Glory Shown from Haydn's The Creation.
Great. Thank you.
Now heaven in fullest glory shone, earth smiled in all her rich attire. The room of air with cloud is filled, the water swelled by shoals of fish, by heavy beasts the ground is trod, by heavy beasts the ground is trod. But all the work was not complete, but all the work was not complete. There wanted yet that wondrous being, that grateful should God's power admire, with heart and voice his goodness praise. But all the work was not complete, there wanted yet that wondrous being, that grateful should God's power admire, with heart and voice his goodness praise. That grateful should God's power admire, with heart and voice, with heart voice, with heart and voice his goodness praise.
Great, thank you so much. Let us know what the rest of the repertoire list is, please.
Okay, I have O Capito Signor Si from Mozart's Don Giovanni, as well as Vecchia Cimarra Senti from La Bohème, Puccini, and Si Trai Ceppi from Handel's Berenice, and Mozart's Die Zauberflöte in diesen Heiligen Hallen.
Okay, great. Let us go over to Jesse for this one.
Well, I'm a little partial to the magic flute. I could also go for Vecchia Cimarra. I mean, we heard he has low notes, but again, I don't know. Any of my other colleagues would like to jump in?
I mean, I'd love to hear the Colline, but that's just me. I know he can sing those low notes. Those low notes were awesome.
Let's go for Colline then.
Awesome. Great. Let's do that.
Vecchia Cimarra senti, l'ore sol pian tua scender sacro monte devi. Le mie grazie ricevi. Mai non curvassi logoro dorso richiedai potenti posso nelle tue tasche in antri tranquilli filosofie poeti. Ora che giorni lieti fuggir ti dico addio, fedele amico mio. Addio, addio.
Great, Dylan. Thank you so much. All right, let's go straight to Jesse to start the feedback.
Thank you, Dylan. That was a very good addition. I'm glad we ended up in Vecchia Cimarra. I think it was able to show us some things that the first selection did not. And I think overall, I would love for you to be able to commit to every single note having a vibrato. And I know, there's technical things, there's nerves, there is many things that go into that. But again, clearly you were a bass, which is not very common. So we're always happy to hear one. But make sure that you're not only working the bottom of your voice, because as a bass, you're going to need the top very, very often. and I think that is something that it will pay off if you start thinking about it now. But again, the Vecchia Cimarra, straight away, it had more legato than the Haydn is able to provide for you. So thank you for that. And the setup looks very good. So well done there. The mic, there was something going on the second selection because there was an orchestra. I think the mic was trying to choose between the two of you. And I
Okay.
don't know if that's a setting, maybe a level thing, a auto, you know, when you select.
Well, what it is, right before I started, my phone for some reason would not connect to my Apple speaker, so I had to run like 2 minutes before y'all put me in here to grab my phone, my mom's phone, and use hers because my phone was the only one that was working for the accompaniment. So I don't think I have enabled audio or original audio or anything.
Okay.
Oh
Everything I
no,
had set
bummer.
up was just completely kind of.
That's all right. You dealt with it well. We would
Yeah.
never have known. Good job. Great. Thank you, Jesse. Let's go over to Jen.
Hello, Dylan.
Hi.
Great to hear you. Great to hear a young real bass. And I loved your presentation. The voice sounds great. You look great. The setup is nice and clean. We get to focus on you and your performance. I have one little nitpicky thing that I noticed between both songs. You have a tendency to keep your eyes rather high and kind of in one spot.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about bringing our eyes up too high is it tends to bring our body with us.
Right.
And especially when we're the middle lower voices, it's all about being grounded. I mean, really, really grounded. So I would say for you, try to find a point when you're singing that's a little closer to sort of straight out from where you're standing, because it can read as a timidity if we're constantly sort of looking up and searching. And, you know, as a bass, you're going to be playing most often the all-knowing person who has all of the confidence. And if you're kind of searching for your answers all the time, it's not going to quite read the way you want it to read. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
yes.
I would say, you know, get some pieces of paper and put them around your room to make sure your eye level stays a little further down and we're not reaching and bringing the body up with it. Because your voice is just so nice and buzzy and round, and it's in a good place, and it's in a very speaky place, and I love it. So bring the level of the eyes down a little bit, and you will immediately have a little more authority, and it will just help everything overall. Bravo.
Thank you.
Bravo. Thank you so much, Jen. That's great advice. Over to Chris.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed this. You know, you're only 22, and again, it's really exciting to see a nice young bass voice that's a true bass, and you're doing a lot of good things, and a lot of things are going to take a little bit of time to mature and settle in. You know, I love the Haydn. I think that's, I mean, I have a soft spot in my heart for the creation. It's one of my favorite pieces. Again, you know, when you're singing in English, you know, you really want to be aware of how you're executing your text. You know, I want to be careful because I don't want overproduction of words, but just, you know, in this day and age when we have recording devices that on everything from our phones to our tablets and our computers, you know, use them, you know, see how the text is coming across, make sure that, you know, you're getting to the ends of your words. I loved the Vecchietta Mara. You know, I think it's going to be really beautiful in a few years. I think once you really are able to understand the depth of the moment that's happening there, it's going to be a showstopper for you. Just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, it's healthy. It's productive. I mean, you have time ahead of you, and I think you just need to, you know, you just need to keep doing the things that you're doing, and you're off to a great start. So congratulations.
So can I ask a question? You don't ever think it's a bad idea to like bring oratorio into an opera audition? Or
well, that's a really great question. I tend to keep an open mind. I you know, when I'm auditioning for when I'm auditioning someone either for the program or for a job here at Arizona Opera, I just want to see what the voice does. You know, I can do the math in my head and see what the capabilities are in the theater and so forth. Other places, you know, my other two esteemed colleagues here might have a different idea. Jesse, Lisa, what are your thoughts on that?
I think definitely check what the listing from the company mentions. I think some companies are very specific about, you know, asking for a certain period of time. Like I know over here, we don't require an aria in English, for instance, while many other companies do. But so I'll say check the requirements.
Yeah, I would echo that as well. I think most companies
Mm-hmm.
would probably accept it, you know, especially from a younger singer. Bass has to sing a lot of old man roles, so it's nice that you're singing something that's sort of more appropriate, you know, fits your age, and I think we would all understand that. Unless there's something specifically saying no, you can probably either check or assume it's probably okay to list it maybe as a sixth aria in your five, something like that.
Thank you.
Great, Lisa, let's stick with you for any further feedback.
Sure. I don't have much more to say. I think my colleagues hit on a lot of the stuff. I think you're an exciting talent. You're a bass, and that's, as many of them have said, is an exciting and rare animal in the opera jungle. I would say, you know, with the Vecchia Cimara, it's fun to have the orchestra accompaniment, I have no doubt, but see what a faster tempo feels like for you. And just see where that takes you.
That's what my accompanist
You might
says.
be very pleasantly. You might be very pleasantly surprised with your voice in terms of an ease in finishing phrases. The high notes aren't as quite as challenging. Not that you were challenged, but you know, it's just you have more momentum behind you, and you are 22 years old after all. So I think just see how that feels, and also with the Haydn, just take some of that line that you discover in the Puccini, and even though it's a different animal, you know, you always want to sing with as much legato as you can as a singer. It's a healthy sound production. It just is an economical and musical production, vocal production. And I think that is, and just keep it, I think one of my colleagues said earlier, just keep trying to integrate the middle and the top into where the ease that the bottom has. So that's a technical thing that between you and your teacher, but that is also something, because one of my colleagues said, you need high notes as a bass as well as low notes. So just keep working with that. But bravo to you. So nice to you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
Dylan,
much.
great. 22 years old and a bass. I mean, we love it. What I love most about your voice is the low notes, right? They're really well connected to your body. They're very anchored in the larynx and in the throat, and they're very open in the pharynx and the spaces there. You have to try to connect the stuff in the top with that same space, because it, just like women, it's the same space on the bottom as it is up on the top. So the connection that you find to the body and the anchoring in the larynx, go up with it. It's really exactly the same. You want to feel that lower connection up there as you do on the bottom. Try to sing the first phrase of the Haydn in your practice room down an octave. Feel how it feels to be that connected, then take it up into the top octave and sing it exactly the same way. It's the very first thing that we hear, and we don't get the low notes until a couple of pages later. So that very first phrase literally has to be the most secure, the most anchored, because we have to go, oh, a 22-year-old bass. Okay, so practice those phrases down an octave. Feel how they feel in the throat. It's the same space. Yeah? My other thing, I would love to see in your audition package, again, a bel canto aria. I would love for you to look at the brother in Puritani, Cinta e Fiori, I believe it's called, Lucia, the priest, that the aria that normally gets cut, but sing it anyways. Maybe the Romeo and Juliet, the Friar Lawrence, something like that, where it's gonna feel, Lacedato Spirito, things like that, that I need you to find that ease of legato. And the bel canto comes before the Puccini. The bel canto legato line, if you can get that to spin consistent air, yeah, then Vecchia Cimara is gonna be a walk in the park. Yeah.
So Puritani brother, Lucia.
The Puritani brother, Lucia, or even in the Romeo and Juliet, the friar. Yeah. Something that's a little bit more a legato line that's simple line, beautiful legato spin, vowel to vowel to vowel to vowel to vowel. It will help you in the studio. It will help you in an audition to ground you. And then when we call Vecchiazzimarra, you can use the bel canto line, go into the Puccini, fill it out with a little bit more space. I'll have some more Puccini rubato, but it's really the same legato. But the bel canto is lighter and the lines are simpler. Yeah, they flow a little bit better, and they can help you learn how to sing those legato lines in your upper middle register before you get into the Puccini. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, because the Handel doesn't show us legato, it shows us all kinds of other things. So then when we get to Vecchiazzimarra, the reason I wanted it was because I want to hear legato line. Yeah, so go bel canto legato for right now while you're a little bit younger, and have a little bit more ease of that legato. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome, Dylan. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you all for your invaluable advice. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. So we've had a cancellation. Unfortunately, our tenor, Darius Thomas, cannot be with us this afternoon. So we are going to move on with soprano Marissa Moultrie. Marissa, are you with us, or is she in the waiting room, I hope? We let her in. Marissa, are you there?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us today, and sorry to put you on the spot. I hope you were ready.
No worries, I am.
Okay, great. Tell us what kind of tech you're using over there. Oh, I love this dress. Pretty.
Thank you. Okay, so I have my MacBook Pro. I have a Blue Yeti mic. We have an Ethernet running through the Wi-Fi.
Great.
And we have a ring light, and then I have my pianist.
Oh, live pianist. Please introduce her for us.
This is Olga Volkova.
Olga, thank you for being with us. We love live pianists. It's so nice to get to sing with someone, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let us know what you'd like to start with, dear.
I would love to start with Come Scoglio from Così fan tutte by Mozart.
Great, thank you. Great. Great, Marissa. Thank you. Let us know what the rest of the repertoire list is, please.
Yes, so I have the Jewel Song, Das war sehr gut Mandrika from Arabella, Embroidery Aria, and Depuis le Jour.
Okay, let us go over to Chris for Marissa.
Sure, I'd love to hear the Arabella, please.
Sure.
Brava, beautiful. Oh, Jen! I'm gonna go to Jen first because she's having a moment. Oh, so beautiful. I love it. You want me to give you a minute? Okay, I give you a minute. I'm gonna give you a minute. Go to Chris. We'll go to Chris.
Beautiful job. Here, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
switch this over so I can actually see.
Really, really beautiful.
Marissa, really, really lovely work. And I again, all of 23 years old, and you did so much, so right. And again, you're somebody who I would definitely make a note of to keep my eye on to see where this lands in a year or two. There's so many good things that are happening, and the things that I want to talk about have nothing to do with anything other than maturity. It's just it's things that you can sort of digest. Let me ask you a question. Why? What made you choose Come Scolio as your starter, as opposed to starting with this?
It's a very. I love the aria.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but I would be lying if I said I didn't pick it also because I think that people want to hear Mozart, or I just assumed that you would probably pick it if I didn't offer it first.
Okay, so this is just my opinion. My colleagues might feel differently, but one of the best pieces of advice I ever got from a world famous pianist when I was auditioning to study with them was, I went into the audition really excited, and I sat down and played the hardest, fastest, loudest thing I could possibly do. And it was pretty amazing, if I say so myself. I got done playing and I was panting and I threw my hands up in the air, and he looked at me and he said, "What's the most beautiful thing you have in your package?"
Yeah.
And that's not to say that Come Scolio is not beautiful. Così fan tutte is probably is my favorite Mozart opera of all of them. But when you have something that elicits a reaction the way Jennifer is reacting right now, I think you have to think really hard about that thing.
Yeah.
Because this gentleman who gave me that advice 25, 30 years ago was exactly right. And I've always remembered that moment, and I've always passed it on to every young singer I've ever encountered or who came into my program. Start with the thing that is the most beautiful thing. You have to remember that what we do is a tangible art form. We touch people's lives ultimately. We move people. And what I love about this particular aria is, or this particular moment rather, is that it never ceases to amaze me when I hear it. The minute I hear those chords, it's a magical moment for the singer. It provides an opportunity for them to sort of suck the air out of the room, but it doesn't start in some weird, crazy place in the voice that could get you into any sort of trouble. He really wrote it in such a way that everything just is, the proportions are just right. It's the right length. And I would strongly consider using this as your starting aria.
Okay.
There's a lot of wonderful things that you're doing with it that I don't even think you're even aware of that you're doing with it. So I just want to leave it alone. All the technical things that you will work on, you will discover that in due time. But it's very beautiful. In the Mozart, in the Come Scolio right away, it's the text.
Yeah.
It's the language. And again, it's a maturity thing. Italian is not something that, it's not your mother tongue. There are specific places, the very first line, for example, that require just that much more time, that much more effort, so that you wrap your mouth around every single nuance and every single elision.
Yeah.
You gloss over it a little bit, and a lot of that could be nerves, or it could be the overall temperament of the moment in the music. Again, it's maturity. As you live with this aria, you will, you're going to be coached to death on it because it's an absolute perfect role for you to be studying at this juncture in your academic studies. You know, in looking at your resume, you're working with all the right people. I have to say, I love that you did not list teachers on your resume, and I'm going to tell you why. It's when I'm auditioning people, I don't want to know any of that because I don't want to be influenced by people who I know or love in the world. You know, I want solely my focus to be on this, and so I appreciate that you did that. But I think you're an extraordinary talent. I think you have a lot of wonderful things ahead of you. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't be in any hurry to get to any sort of finish line right now. You have time on your side. You know, learn all the music you can in this pandemic situation. You know, study language. Listen to wonderful singers who can influence you in how you approach your musical style. And I think you'll go very far. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with you in the near future. Thank you for today.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Fantastic feedback. Jesse, how about you?
Great audition, Marissa. Thank you for both pieces. I agree. I think the Arabella it's something that you were able to do. It was an aria that allowed you to do something that you couldn't do with Come Escolio. And I, you know, opera, our art form is here to move people, and I think that that's a great testament to you. And again, you know, I love when singers come in and say, well, that's what I thought you would want, or that's what I think you, right? But really, I mean, every company has a different reality, but in the end of the day, we want to hear you at your best. And your beginning aria is usually your choice, right? So if you have the chance to choose something that will convince us in the first selection, I think you should do that, right?
Yeah.
Because depending on the number of singers auditioning, sometimes you don't get a second selection, right? I mean, most companies try to do that, but sometimes you don't. So I would say definitely switch it around. And when it comes to ornamentation in Mozart, I love it. I expect it. I think it's part of the style. Nevertheless, I think you need to think about what that ornamentation is doing for that moment and for that phrase. You know, does it strengthen it or does it weaken it? Because, you know, I think some of the choices you made in the ornamentation actually weakened the phrase that Mozart wrote. So that's just something to consider for the future. But great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks. Let's go to Lisa.
Well, I don't have too much more to add. My colleagues have, I agree with what they're saying. And I think it's, the Arabella is really special in your voice. It has that intangible, that thing you can't teach a singer, that just you connect to it. It's the right temperament with the right voice, with the right spirit, that sort of lightning in a bottle, beautiful golden moment. And it'll only continue to get better as you mature and as you grow. And I think it's an interesting, you know, I think so often young singers are caught in that conundrum that you expressed, in that what does the panel want to hear? And I think the conversation in your own head needs to be different. What do I want to share with them? What do I want to show? Because you're allowed to say that. Selection number 2 is what do we want to hear? Selection number 1 is this is who I am. Mm-hmm. So you give us your most personal, your best, your most intimately connected aria, because that will show us truths about you that you can't sort of try to that aren't artificial, that aren't constructed. Those are that shows us the footprint who you are, as not only as a singer but even as an artist. Yeah. Which is exactly what I feel the Arabella does for you. So don't doubt that. I think we're all sort of in agreement with that. And the Come Escolio is lovely, and it certainly is a role you will and should sing. I feel that you haven't quite connected all the dots for yourself yet, but that is certainly going to come. I have no doubt. And just to echo what Chris says, yes, the language needs to marinate in you a little bit more. You need to make friends with that language, and see how you feel about it, and see how it feels in those phrases Mozart wrote. And you certainly will. And as for the ornamentation, I absolutely appreciated that you did ornaments. I think you sort of half apologized for doing ornaments. I think when you really commit to saying, this is my ornament, and this is what it means to Fiordiligi in this moment, you know, this is why she has to extend the moment. I think it'll read in a much more convincing way for you as well as for us. And I'm also going to say, you know, in the Mozart, hearing the Arabella and then thinking back on the Mozart, I think you can sing the Mozart with as much body under the sound as you sing the Strauss. I don't think they're different animals in that respect. I think the top didn't always hook in for you in the Mozart because I think you kind of were careful with it because it's Mozart. And I don't think you have to think that way. Like, try getting that full, beautiful sound and support under those high notes, and see where it takes you. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with how it's going to feel in your throat. Great. But really, brava, you're a very, very special talent, and so thank you.
Great, thank you, Lisa. Okay, I'm going to come back to Jen. Are you okay now? Is it okay if we go to you now? Great, thank you.
Marissa, thank you. Thank you very much for sharing something really beautiful today. I'm going to start crying again. Oh my gosh, I'm a mess.
You're the best.
All
good.
The minute you started Come I thought there was something extraordinary about you. People have given you nitpicky, you know, little things here and there, which of course will come along. But there was such a sincerity and an honesty, and you owned your space. And I appreciated that so, so, so much. But you must start with the Strauss, because if you can get this kind of reaction, you know, from anybody else, that's pretty golden. Sorry, golly, okay. You're very young and you're very talented, and people are gonna give you so much advice and tell you to do all of these things. Listen to yourself and listen to the people who have taught you thus far. They're guiding you in a beautiful way. And brava to you. It's very extraordinary.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you. Marissa, beautiful. Fantastic singing, fantastic audition. We heard you several weeks ago in Sing Mitradi, which was also incredible, but really everyone is very right. The Arabella is very special. For me, being someone in your voice, near your voice type, having gone through your voice type, what Lisa said is 1000% right, and I want you to take that and live in that. Just because it's Mozart, you don't sing with less of what you have. You sing with all of what you have, because Fiordiligi is not small. Vitellia, not small. Electra, not small. Donanna, which you definitely should sing, not small. But these are the roles that you can sing in your younger years that will get you on stage and get you that experience that you need. So I want you, and from me personally, you must sing with your full voice, and don't pull off again just because it's Mozart. Because the high notes in the Arabella were far more grounded and anchored than the high notes in the Mozart. And when high notes go unanchored, you risk things happening. And believe me, in my career, I know all about the things happening, okay? So you don't want that. You don't want anyone to ever remember you having been, she cracked a high note, right?
Right, yeah.
We crack high notes because we grab and we hold, yeah? And usually we're holding because we're afraid of letting too much out, or we hear something and let it go. Let it go in all the repertoire, because the Arabella high notes were so stunning. I know what you're doing in the Fiordiligi. Yeah? So from one in the same voice to another, Let them rip. Let them come out. Support them just like you would the other repertoire, and you will be magnificent in all of these roles. I know you will. Really, such a special talent. Thank you for sharing with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart. And thank you to your pianist.
Yes.
Wonderful playing. Wonderful playing. Thank you. Okay, our last singer of today, mezzo-soprano, Alexandria Zalo. Are you there? Can you hear me, Alexandria?
Hello, can you see me?
Hi, yes, we have you. Hi, sweetie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Talk us through your tech that you have going on over there.
Yeah, I have my MacBook Air connected to a pretty generic USB microphone, Ethernet cable, and then this like lamp that is kind of like a spotlight.
It looks great.
My track from a Bluetooth speaker.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Let us know what you'd like to start with.
I would like to start with This Journey from Jake Heggie's Dead Man Walking.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
This journey to Christ, this journey to my God, this journey to myself, to my Jesus, to this man. This journey to the truth. This journey. I'm going to die, he writes me. I haven't a chance. Does he want me to help him to die? Is he afraid of death? What am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? Death, maybe. And what else I want to know? This journey to Jesus, to my Christ. Joseph Desrochers, 95281. Death. His death. My own. Help me, dearest Jesus. Make me strong, make me wise, make me human. Amen.
Great. Thank you, Alexandria. Can you tell us what the rest of your repertoire list is? And when we go to the second piece, can you please turn the accompaniment up? We can barely hear it.
Yes, I can definitely do that.
Thank you. Okay, let us know what else you have.
Ah, L'Essa Culée Melarma from Berter, Omir Fernando from La Favorita, Shori Murifuk from Rusalka, and Zmanie Implacabili from Cosmaduda.
Okay, let us go to Lisa for the last choice today.
Well, I think we should do Va, the Mezzo National Anthem.
Yes, let's do it. I love Va.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Gorgeous voice. Wow. Okay, Lisa, let's go over to you.
Thank you. Brava, terrific. Am I right in saying that you are only 21? Is that right?
She is
Yes,
only
I'm
21.
21.
Can you believe it? I can't believe it.
Well, that is an absolutely astonishing instrument for 21. Brava. I mean, it's you have something very special in your throat and in your spirit. So it's very exciting. It's like exciting to hear you. I'm sorry. Is it Alexandria or Alexandra?
Alexandria.
Alexandria. Beautiful name. Yes, I think a lot of this is just going to take time. A big voice in a young body is something that, like a fine wine, it's going to take time. And part of, I think, your process is going to be learning to just be patient and to, maybe not sing stuff that's too big too soon, and allow the voice and the technique and everything to kind of settle, because we don't want to push anything, too far at an early age. That being said, I think these are two good arias for you. It's just something to think about in the Hegi. And I'm going to say a similar thing about the Massenet. It doesn't all have to be forte to fortissimo 80% of the time. I think with a bigger voice, you must also try to find maybe a bigger dynamic variety, so that when you get to those moments where you want that impact, it's there for you. You're not tired. You haven't overextended, and to trust that the journey can get you there, vocally as well as dynamically. And in the Hegi, on a lot of those long notes, this journey, he writes a lot of diminuendos across those notes. So just see what that feels like in your voice, because Sister Helen, she is searching. She's very conflicted. She's very troubled about what she's going to do and what she's trying to do. So just sort of marshal your vocal resources a little bit more, and allow it to sort of at the end unwind a little bit more, so there are not too many high points. And the same thing with the va. I think it can be gentler for longer, so that when we have the big build up at the end, you have just a little more gas in the tank, because it's extremely exciting what you're doing, but I think you can just dial it back ever so slightly, and to create that line and to create that the shapes of the phrases. But it's extremely exciting. Very nice to hear you.
Thank you.
Great. Let's go over to Chris.
Yeah, no, I agree with Lisa, what Lisa has said 100%. You have a phenomenal voice inside of you. And, it's just really an issue of time, as far as, being patient and allowing the voice to grow and develop the way Mother Nature wants it to grow and to develop. You just have to be patient. But I mean, you're doing all sorts of wonderful things. I agree with Lisa in that, you don't have to step on the gas so much. That being said, I want to be very careful. I don't want you to hold anything either. I don't want you to restrict anything from happening. But you have the luxury of allowing the voice to just simply be what it is, and you have a much bigger box of toys to play with regards to the drama and the dramatic intention. Try to find your dynamic palette through those things, as opposed to playing with volume so much, especially in terms of getting bigger, because the voice has it's got plenty of juice behind it, and you've got plenty of time on your side to explore all of the nice big mezzo roles that you're going to encounter in the next 10 years or so. But I think you look wonderful. Again, the camera angle is I would have liked a little bit more body in the frame a little bit. So just play with that. It's great right now, actually, where the way where you are now. But other than that, I'm you're doing some wonderful work. So bravo to you.
Thank you.
Great. How about Jessie?
I agree with everything that has been said. Congratulations for such a young person. You have a wonderful voice. I think your voice would definitely benefit from a bigger space or from moving that mic a little further back if you have space where you are. Um, in the We talked about the track being too quiet in the first selection, and it's every selection wouldn't benefit from that, but I feel when it's contemporary music and we rely on hearing how the melody fits with what the composer wrote, it's very important that not only you hear it but that we hear it as well. So for the second selection, the track being further up volume was great. And then also in that second selection felt to me that the mic was blowing a little more than the first one. So, maybe play with your mic settings a little, and maybe just by moving it back, it will already do that for you. But with the Hagee, I felt that towards the end, it's almost like I lost a little bit of the urgency, and it feels like, oh, yes, it's a prayer, but the words and the way it's said, that it needs to keep that dramatic moment all the way to the end, to the amen, and it almost felt like it deflated right there at the end. So just think a little bit more to the very end of the dramatic thought, but great job, and I agree with my colleagues. I think keep doing what you're doing, and you know I think the rap is right, and well done.
Thank you.
Great. Over to you, Jen.
Hello, Alexandria. You sang so beautifully, and again, it's like an echo chamber. We're all saying how amazing it is to hear this voice come out of a 21-year-old, and I think your rep is great for you. There's always more to explore, and you have this huge spectrum with which you can play with, and it's marvelous. One little thing I would say about this journey is tape yourself and check that diction in just a few little places. That's because it's singing in English for an English panel. There were just a couple of words, given that I don't know this aria by heart by any stretch. There were just a couple of words that or a couple of phrases that I just didn't quite catch. But that again, it's such a slight little thing. Continue to do what you're doing, and find ways to internalize the meaning of everything that you're singing, so that it feels personal and then it is shared personally. I know you've got this great big voice, and it's so much to juggle and handle, and you want to give everyone everything that they ask for, but really find ways to personalize the text for each of these pieces, and give us the embodiment of that in your presentation.
Great. Thank you, Jen. Alexandria, beautiful, beautiful singing. Again, we heard Alexandria several weeks ago sing O Mio Fernando, and we're blown out of our chairs. So amazing, amazing job. I'm going to say it again. This will be the third time today. I would love a bel canto aria. I would love to have something that moves a little bit, because you are young and it is a big voice. And even with a big voice, you got to move. Yeah, Zmanje does move, but Zmanje also sits high. So I don't know about it. Obviously, I'd have to hear it, but I'd love to hear maybe like Tancredi, or maybe one of the bel canto roles that like Tamara Mumford has really made popular. She's got a big voice too, a big rich voice like you, and does Wagner things at the Med and things like that. So look into some bel canto. It's going to help you not only in the studio with the study of the voice, but it will help you in your audition package too. And I'd really love to hear like some Dido, or something like that, that's like really just silky, beautiful, legato, stunning singing. The va is, but there's some sort of early music thing like what Jamie Barton does. Yeah, something like that I think that you could add into your package that would give even more color and availability for you. But I think you're just spectacular. I thought you were spectacular last time, and again, you've just wowed us all. So thank you. What an incredible end to our class today. Thank you for being with us. So that Is it? I mean, what amazing singing have we heard today? I'm completely blown away. I don't know how I forgot to say this at the beginning of our class, but we all have to thank Fort Worth Opera for making this free for everyone. All of these singers sang for free today. Everyone who's watching is watching for free, and we honestly could not do it without the generosity of all of you who have given donations over the past several months. We love all of you. Thank you so much. And if you haven't donated and you can and you're physically able to, please do, because your donations help us bring you this content, and we want to keep bringing it to you. Ryan's going to put the donation link up in the chat. I want to just thank all of the amazing panelists today. Jennifer, Jesse, Chris, and Lisa. I am thrilled. Thank you for your care and for your really concise and detailed feedback with these young artists. It's really, you've given them a gift in a little 5-minute package that they can take out into the world and use for their virtual audition season. And I thank you all so sincerely for everything that you did today. So really, thank you. Thank you so much. I love to give a sneak peek of what's coming next week. We have a second Young Artist Week next week with a bit of older singers. However, we're still kind of in the young artist realm. So we are going to have some wonderful people with us. We are going to have Luca Pizzaroni join us from Europe, which will be amazing. We are going to have the wonderful, lovely, always positive Kathy Olson, artist manager with Encompass Arts. We are going to have Anna Di Archuleta with us from ADA Artists. And we are going to have the brand new head, the brand new artistic director of the San Francisco Opera Center, Carrie Ann Matheson, with us, again joining us from Europe. So that is going to be a very exciting class again for young artists, and I'm sure that with people from all over the world, we are going to get feedback that, like today, that is just so detailed and so specific, and I'm really looking forward to it. So next Saturday, we are at the same time, 2 p.m. here on Zoom, and hopefully on Facebook. Let's see what the technology gods have in store for us next week. And we thank you all so much for being patient with us earlier today with our delay, and for being so supportive of all of the singers today, and really all of the singers. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to throw it back to you, Ryan, and just, wow, thank you all so much.
Jennifer, Christopher, Lisa, Jesse, thank you, thank you, thank you for bringing your heart and bringing your wisdom to us today. I mean, this was just phenomenal. On behalf of everyone at Fort Worth Opera, I just want you to know how grateful we are that you took the time out of your week to be here with us and help guide these incredible young singers through this like surreal alternative universe that we're living right in. It's like some dystopian nightmare, and you're like, what's going on? Wimble it in. Anyway, Jen, so thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And Jen, I love you. Congrats on another terrific virtual audition session. And Ravi, to our wonderful, wonderful, you're so welcome, I love you. Wonderful singers today. And thank you to everyone out there in Zoom land and those watching us on YouTube. Enjoy the
Yes, on YouTube. We turned on the YouTube today. Woo! Yes, if you guys want to be on Zoom again next week, just send an email to masterclass@fwopera.org and you will get the Zoom link to join in, or you can join us on Facebook. Let's hope. Thank you everyone so much. Jennifer, Jesse, Chris, Lisa, enjoy your weekend. Thank you for all of your amazing feedback again. See you guys soon. Bye.